didn't see you there.
Something big is going on here.
From hunting ghosts to Bigfoot.
Paranormal, UFOs, true crime, and more.
We won't just be spouting articles.
I was researching for your entertainment.
Beginning of a new world.
The best guac you'll ever fucking eat.
True story.
It's basically like one day you walk outside and you see that the ants are playing with matches.
This is the Black Cat Report. See you on the other side.
And that's Betsabe with her rendition of the Kifnesses song, Meow 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 Meow. Welcome to the Black Cat Report, and today I have with us Gilbert.
Hello.
Selena.
Hello.
And Betsabe.
Meow.
And today we're doing listeners' stories. So the first story we got was from Jason.
Mm-hmm. And thank you so much, Jason.
Yep. And here we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it.
First story.
My story takes place in February of 2003 in a small town called Burney, Missouri. I'll start off by saying at the time I was 27 to 28 years old and had never at any point seen a ghost, spirit, apparition, Jesus, Elvis, never used a Ouija board, and unfortunately never even seen a UFO. But this night, all that changed for me when a friend of mine, we'll call Dewey, and I went on our lunch break. At that time, I worked for a small tool manufacturer and worked graveyard shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., so I went to lunch at like 3 in the morning. Dewey lived about 2 blocks away, and his mom would always get out of bed and cook him lunch, and before long, he started inviting me to go with him. This one particular night, we pulled up to his house and got out just like any other night. This house was laid out as such that you pulled up to the driveway and just walked through the garage, just a couple steps and into the kitchen. Dewey went in first, and I was right behind him. His dad was sitting at the computer asleep, and every light, with the exception of the computer, was off, and the whole place was dead quiet. All of a sudden, Dewey starts laughing and yelling, so I look up, and standing next to his dad was a small translucent boy. He looked to be 5 to 7 years old to me. He was about as tall as the computer desk. He was wearing an old Victorian-style clothes, big ruffles everywhere, think Prince in the 80s. His coat and pants were black, and his shirt was white, and he had on a hat of some kind. All this took place in a matter of about 3 to 4 seconds, but I can see it clear as day. I've wondered what he was actually doing. He was standing only a couple inches from his dad laid out on the chair. Not comforting knowing that when you're asleep you might have something blowing in your ear. So we must have startled him or something, barging in like we did, because in an instant he jumped/flew straight up. And when he did that, all of the lights in the kitchen and living room came on at the same time, along with the 2 TVs, the ceiling fan in the living room, and the microwave beeped. It was like anything that had an on and off switch was affected. Crazy shit. I was freaked out, looking around, trying to wrap my head around this, and I asked Dewey, what the fuck just happened? He goes, "Oh man, you got to see Henry." So he tells me the story about a kid that lived in the house next door to the one Dewey and his family live in now, that had died in a house fire at some point ages ago. His name was in fact Henry, and you can look out Dewey's garage door and still see the foundation from that house. He also has a sister with special needs, and every time I've seen her, she hasn't made a sound. But his whole family told me about all the times they hear her laughing and singing when she's in her bed. They all believe it, I do too. My wife likes to hear the story, and I like telling it. But I'm not really a ghost guy, it's UFOs for me. But I truly believe they're there, probably all around us, all the time if we knew the truth. Sometimes conditions are right and we get a glimpse like I got. I'll always be grateful I got to see him and hope to see more. But if I don't, it's cool. Believe me, it only takes one. Thank you, Jason.
So what everybody think about Jason's story?
I would freak out. That sounded so creepy. Like it flying up.
Yeah.
After being seen, I would shit my pants.
Seriously.
I thought it was a very fashionable boy.
Oh, yeah.
Prince in the 80s.
Yeah,
Very
I'd be like,
fashionable.
that's cool.
The style and stuff like that, like, totally
Yeah.
matched and
Like,
made sense.
where did you buy your outfit? No?
My mama made it. But, like, that, yeah. I could see that as being one of those like turning point moments where it's like you're not really into, you know, the ghost or the paranormal stuff, or you're like, you know, just not a thought in your day-to-day life, and then you see something that's like so fucking clear, and then not just like something that's so fucking clear that you see, because that, you know, if you're a skeptic, could definitely just be dismissed as like, ah, I'm just tired, or, you know, like whatever, you know, whatever you have to tell yourself to keep up your beliefs. But then to have, like you said, like everything in the house that had an on switch and off switch, like turn on and off, like in unison with the ghost, like jumping or like flying through the air and shit, like that, like drives it home. It's like, fuck, I can't deny this. You know, that would scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think I would be scared to see like a kid. Like, I don't know, I feel like seeing a ghost kid, it's like, oh, okay. But I don't know, maybe because it's just a kid.
But I don't know, it's speculated that like more malicious kinds of like entities can make themselves look like children so that people don't they like trust them.
Well, now that you're saying that, now I'm scared of kids that are ghost kids.
I was just gonna say it's my favorite thing when people talk about like, oh, when, you know, Dewey says basically like, oh, that's Henry, he lives here too, it's fine, no big deal, and the whole family's like, oh, it's all good. This crazy ghost is in our house, no one really cares. They're just like, that's just another member of the family.
I always kind of appreciate when families do have like an active like apparition or like entity, whatever, like in the house, and they just kind of are like, it's not bothering me, like whatever. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's, I don't know, there's something to be said about that kind of mindset. I mean, at first you're going to be like, what the fuck, and like trying to figure it out, but then after a while it's like, well, it's been 5 years, nothing bad's ever happened, you know, so it's like kind of cool. I don't know. I like
They
that.
even, like, they gave him a name, Henry. Unless he had, like, a name tag.
Well, they said that his family had lived there, I guess, for like a while, and that kid's house burned down. So that was his actual name.
So I guess, like, they saw it on the paperwork of the house or something.
No, he was saying that like from his door, you can see the foundation that's still there from the house that burned down.
So it was, like, a known family.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was just homeless Henry.
Oh,
Oh, poor homeless Henry.
homeless Henry.
Oh, that's.
I mean,
It is
that's
interesting that he
sad.
went to that house too. He's just like, I guess he's just like, I like that house.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean,
I'm sad now.
I feel like if you become a ghost or whatever, you have superpowers, and he's not actively using any of those superpowers for bad. And it's just like anytime he shows up and he's just like existing, people freak out, and he's like, okay, never mind, bye. Just like leaves. And it's like, so based off of that rationale, I'm like, Henry's probably pretty solid, you know, 100 and something year old 8-year-old. You know, he's probably pretty chill.
Like, you know how
Good
people think that it's like electromagnetic
Electromagnetic.
and stuff like that? Maybe that's why the power wasn't on. Like, maybe he was absorbing like electricity to like show up, and then once he disappeared, everything got its power back.
Yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
it creates like a vacuum.
Yeah.
Damn.
Science.
That shit's nuts. And we in a story that we'll have on here a little bit later with Lunico, we do kind of like touch on some of those theories or whatever, and like not to like spoil too much early on in the show, but just the idea that like consciousness itself, like our thoughts and our minds, they use energy. Like they burn calories. When you think, you burn calories. And based off the simple law that, like, you know, energy can't be created or destroyed, what the hell happens when you die?
Nothing.
Well, where does your consciousness go? Right? If your consciousness is consuming energy, well, where's the output?
I think it becomes a star and lives in the universe.
That's legit. Yeah.
I think stars are basically that. That's why there's so many and they're infinite. What is that noise? Oh, it's you. Sorry.
I don't know. Shit's trippy though.
And that's why that song from Coldplay makes sense.
Which one?
You're a star.
Mhm.
You're a star.
I don't know. I do want to see an apparition like at some point in my life, like clear, like a clear apparition where like, maybe to Jason's level of experience or whatever. Like, but I would like to just see that firsthand because I'm pretty brick-headed. As much as I love and I fascinate around things, part of my reason behind all the intensive research is I'm also kind of like vetting it. You know, like I have to understand all this shit around it before I can like still give in to like hoping that it's real or thinking about these things or like just keeping going with it. But like, I don't know. I want to see one.
Yeah, me
I want to
too.
fucking see one. Damn it.
Yeah.
Not a super bad one, but like one. You know.
I want to see one, like a fashionable ghost too.
A Prince level
Crazy.
ghost.
It's crazy seeing something like that.
I mean, you could see Prince.
True.
Wait, is he not alive?
He's not alive.
Really?
He's
Huh.
For a while now.
It's like
I thought he was
the
like just
ghost formerly known as Prince.
still alive, but like just old.
2015.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been a while.
2016.
Well, I'm sorry, no one invited me to his funeral. I know.
He's kept alive in your thoughts.
Yeah. It's like Michael Jackson. I still think he's alive. Like, I don't think he's dead.
That's an interesting thought that they're kept alive in your thoughts.
I don't think Michael
Aw.
Jackson was ever alive.
Yeah.
But that's a different episode.
That's like, yeah, that's a whole episode.
Second story.
So have you ever experienced anything paranormal?
Yes. I would say growing up in our scary, spooky house, I would have dreams a lot. Like I never saw any ghosts or ghoulies or anything like you've seen, but I would hear the like footsteps in the hallway. And I would have these dreams when I lived in the room that you used to occupy as well, that this like Native American woman would pop out of the closet floor and just start like cleaning my room, like touching, not cleaning, but she would like touch the things on my dresser and then sit on the end of the bed and we'd have conversations. And then when I would tell our mom about it, she would say, "No, that's not true. Like that's a dream. Nothing's coming out of your closet." So then
What
I
would she
told the
talk to you about?
she would just say that the house was built on like Indian, like Native American land, I guess, and that like there were previous owners and that there had been other children that lived in the house and like just I don't know, I guess the history of our house. And she was just like, and then she would ask about like, because for some reason when I was like 9, everybody decided that I liked porcelain dolls, and I just kept getting porcelain dolls for my birthday
Yeah.
and Christmas, and they kind of lined my shelves. And she said, "What's up with these dolls?" And I was like, "I don't like them. I don't want them." And she said, "Well, if you just put them in the closet, then no one will ever buy you anymore." So that ended the porcelain doll thing. But I don't know. She was just like talking to me about stuff. And then when I told mom, she said, "That's not true." So I told the lady that she's not real, according to my mom. And the lady said, "Well, your mom lives in an extension of the house that wasn't added until after your grandparents bought the house." And then she's like, "If you don't believe me, check your mom's closet, and there's going to be like a framed out, boarded up window and like also a space for the crawl space in there." So then I checked and it was there. So then I told mom and she was like, "Ew, that's creepy."
That is really creepy.
Yeah.
I thought she would clean your room a little bit and then you would wake up and your room would be like how she left
Yeah.
it.
Well, she would like touch things up, like because she knew I had like OCD, so I liked my things turned a certain way. Like if I had them on my dresser, they needed to be in a certain order. And so she would like, if something had shifted, she would turn it back to like the exact position that I liked it. And she'd be like, "I know how much this means to you." And so she would just like, I don't know, like look out for me, I think.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So she was like a
And
nice presence.
Isn't that also the woman that my Theo Benny would see with the
Yeah,
long
sitting on his
braid?
DJ equipment. Yeah, she had like this long white hair in a braid. I don't know. She always had it in a braid. And she'd wear like white. She was wearing white, and I feel like it makes sense because that area was like there was like all these Spanish missionaries, so it was like a big Native American population
Mm-hmm.
that was around there. So I don't know if maybe she was wearing white because she was like told to do so by the missionaries at that point. I don't know, but she was always
Mm-hmm.
appearing in white with a long white-haired braid. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
remember our Theo Benny being really freaked out because he would see her in the garage a lot and he would try to get our Tia Belinda to see her.
Yeah.
Be like,
Yeah,
Belinda, look.
I never
And she couldn't
saw
see him.
anything in like my waking life. It was more just like
You saw the
dreams.
doppelgangers.
Yeah, I forgot about the doppelgangers until I heard your episode. I think that I probably repressed that since it was
Yeah.
so freaking scary.
Yeah.
When I heard it on the podcast, I was cleaning my car and I sat in the back seat uh, to recover because I just was like in shock that I had blocked that part of my, I guess, memory out. Yeah.
And I know you
But
have
besides
another paranormal story, though. The haunted
the
hotel.
okay, well, that one was just weird. Everybody, so I work for an airline, and everybody loves this hotel. It's like this beautiful hotel in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and it's kind of cool. It's like this rustic cabin look. So I had two beds. They give you this giant teddy bear. It was set on the one of the beds, and it just like it was like whatever. This is cool. I go to bed. I woke up around like 3 a.m., maybe 2, it was like maybe 2:50, 3 a.m. ish. And because I hear this girl crying. It's like a little girl crying. And then I feel this like, I'm still asleep. So I'm coming out of sleep, but there's like another little girl saying, "You have to help my sister. You have to help my sister." And I got really freaked out because I was like, in my head, I was like, Selena, like, am I having like a childhood memory? Like, is this me asking somebody to help you? And I was like very confused. I was like, where am I? What's going on? So I kind of turn and I'm waking up. I'm blinking my eyes open and I see like a figure, and it looks like a little girl sitting on the end of the bed, kind of like stooped over, and like I can still hear the crying that I could hear when I was asleep. But then I was like, no, 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 this isn't happening. No, this is not real. So I turned on the light, and then the figure that I had seen in the like the shadow I had seen in the dark got much smaller, and then it was just a teddy bear that I saw. But like I know that I saw the shadow of a little girl, and I put my covers over my head and I just said, nope, nope, this didn't happen. This didn't happen until I fell asleep. That was like my mantra. And then I passed back out when I woke up to get ready for work. I still felt really uneasy and I started asking the other crew members, like, hey, is this hotel haunted? Because I think it's haunted. I don't know. I feel, and I put the teddy bear on the chair by the window instead of like on the bed because I didn't want that to happen. And everybody's like, I don't think it's haunted. Nobody's said anything about this hotel being haunted, but I still felt like it was like I saw and heard something. So I Googled it on the van ride to the airport. And there had been a fire, and the foreman of the hotel had two little girls that were trapped on the second floor, which was, by the way, the floor I was staying on. And
Yikes.
it was terrifying because I was like, I knew it was haunted. And everybody was like, oh, you're spooky. I don't want to go anywhere with you. So yeah, I don't know. I don't I feel like that was like an experience, but nobody else
Yeah,
had an experience, so I don't know. But
that's so
yeah.
crazy. Those
Yeah.
stories, that was a really good story.
That
All right.
one, like, I still got goosebumps telling you about it because I like can still hear the little. It was like so alarming because I at that point, like, I didn't know where I was. I didn't know who, like, I was like, I don't know any little girls. Like, the only little girl I know is Mila, and she's like not articulate enough to be like, help
Yeah.
my sister. And I was like, she didn't have a sister at that time. So I was like, what? And so I thought, is this like a weird memory of me asking somebody to help you? Or is this a weird memory of you asking somebody to help me? Like, I was like, I don't really know. But then I
Yeah.
heard the crying when I woke up and I was like, what the
That
frick?
would freak me out if I heard a little girl crying.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. And then I don't know. It was just so weird. It was like the weirdest way to wake up and like made me so scared. And now every time I get that layover, I'm like, nope, I will drop the trip. I will not go
Oh
to
my
Jackson,
gosh.
Wyoming, because I do not want to be revisited by those little girls.
Yikes. I don't blame you.
Yeah, I watched The Shining. I know what happens with two little girls hanging out in a hotel together.
Yeah, it's evil. That's crazy. All right. Thank you for sharing your paranormal stories with us.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I wish when I was growing up, like as a little kid, like out in the country, and like didn't really have any friends for like miles or whatever, because it was in the middle of nowhere until I was like 12. But I wish I had a ghost that cool that lived like near me or at the house or something like that, because like it was like awesome. Like she was like giving her life advice and like literally like helping her with like her mental health and like her comfort, and you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. Like, and it, I don't know, what stood out to me was like how consistent it was, that there was like a narrative that like got built up with like rapport with your mom, like over a period of time. You know, your mom had, you know, the typical parent reaction of like, no, that's nothing anyways, you know. But then eventually it was just like, oh god damn it.
Yeah.
This ghost again. She just grabs her holy water and her crucifix, just like charges into the room. No, that's not your mom. But but that was fucking nuts. And like it's always that external validation. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all the lights and everything turning on and off and beeping and stuff in Jason's story, and it's like, you know, literally being able to identify like historical, like architectural changes to a household that are like very, like, it's a really weird spot to know about something being, where it's just like, oh, if you go into the closet and you dig into the back and you check over here, then you're gonna find this.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
if you
who the hell
like
would know that?
if you saw the closet,
Mm-hmm.
you could see how it was like impossible to see that. Like she had a dresser in there. It had like cabinets built in all around the sides, and it was just full of clothes.
Yeah.
Like my mom is a stylish lady. She has a lot of nice clothes. So there was no way to like for Paulina to know like there was a boarded up window and a little blocked up vent for going under the house.
Damn.
Wow. Yeah.
And there was a time where we went into that room. We went into the room that Paulina was talking about that she was in, and we knocked on the wall
Oh shit.
next to my mom's closet, because we would always try to like sit in the dark and tell each other scary stories and stuff. We were just obsessed, like little morbid children, like me and my cousins and my sister.
It was an environmental inspiration, but
Yeah. And like we would knock on it. We knocked on it one time and we heard knocks back.
fuck that.
So we all screamed and ran out into the living room where the grown-ups
no.
were. But yeah, it was the house was so creepy.
But at least that ghost was nice. She sounded more like an angel, you know, like giving you
Yeah.
life advice, helping you with your room, you know? Like,
And I
that's
also
so
had a
nice.
cousin that said that there was a little girl that lived under my bed.
Oh, that's not cool.
Yeah, and that there was another little girl that lived in my closet. And I was like,
Can you
Kristen,
not?
you're not gonna talk to me like that in my own home.
I'm just gonna say, if you have that knowledge of a close friend or family member, like just don't tell them. Just don't tell them. Just like
She was
go to
little.
the kitchen, grab some fucking like cooking sage or whatever, even though it's not gonna work, and just just kind of toss it under the bed and just walk away. Just handle it external. Like nobody wants to hear that there's a ghost under their bed and in their closet.
That's
Yeah.
like everyone's nightmare.
You covered every base for where the spookies come out of at that point.
Yeah.
Like you don't tell someone that.
I was
Yeah,
like, well,
no.
I guess I'll just die.
No.
Guess I'll just die. See what all the hubbub's about. Everybody else is just sticking around.
Yeah, it's like that house from American Horror Story. If you die on the property, you're fucking stuck there.
Oh God,
Yeah.
no.
Have you seen that first season of American Horror Story? It's actually
No.
pretty good.
But
yeah,
I just
basically,
could
like
not
if
do
you
that.
die on the property, your soul is tied to it forever. So there's like a bunch of ghosts in that house.
That's basically hell.
Yeah.
How pissed would you be if you were like the first ghost that died there, and then you're just sitting there and like all these other ghosts just keep popping up, and you're like, damn it,
I know.
I don't have enough rooms for these people.
Yeah,
And they
like why?
continuously are pissing you off. Like you're the one, you're the cleaner. So
Yeah.
like, because you know you're the first owner of the house, so you're like, I need to keep this clean, and then you have like these terrible people like making a mess in there, throwing their ether everywhere,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, their ghost beer or whatever they're doing, you know.
Ghost beer.
Yeah, it's like roommates that you
And they
didn't
don't use
choose.
ghost coasters.
Ghostbusters.
Ghosters.
It's like the movie The Others. I really like it. Like the family just lives in the house, and then
Oh yeah, that was a good
wait, have you
movie.
seen it? Because I don't want to like.
Long time
This
ago.
is gonna be a
Spoiler
spoiler.
alert.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert, but this movie came out in like the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who cares?
So to all the listeners out there, I'm gonna be as shocked as you are by what we're about to hear. So support. Okay, go.
Well, at the end, like, so this whole movie is about, it's Nicole Kidman, by the way. And she moves into this house with her kids, and then the kids start seeing like ghosts, and they start hearing noises. So it gets more and more aggressive. And then like at the end, the mom decides to do something about it because it was just getting really messed up. But at the end of the movie, they basically show you that Nicole Kidman and her kids were the ghost, not the people that you thought was the ghost.
They took the Sixth Sense twist. I'm not even mad about the spoiler. They totally stole that from the Sixth Sense.
No,
it
it's
was
different.
well done. It was well done. It was done well to the point where you weren't thinking. Oh,
Yeah,
this is
because
just
I
a
didn't
Sixth
think
Sense.
that
Okay.
until
Like,
you
it was.
mentioned it.
You were literally like, "Oh my god, what is happening? Like, what's
Mhm.
going on? This is so freaky."
Yeah.
And then like, she walks in on a séance happening
Shit.
in her home with people that she does not know,
Yeah.
and it's the people in the house trying to connect to them to get them to leave the house because they're harassing her children.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's
that-
Like
so good.
what they thought was happening to them is happening to the family that moved into that house.
Mhm.
It's like, it's really crazy.
Like, it really gets you at the end. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god.
Yeah, because with the Sixth Sense, you kind of like knew, like, it was at the end. You weren't like, oh my god, like it kind of
like,
gives you hints.
He doesn't really interact with anyone except for the kid.
Yeah. So like it kind of gives you hints, but I can see, but like yeah, this movie doesn't make you, because I think it came out before the Sixth Sense. Like no.
No.
Sixth Sense was first.
Okay,
Sixth
never
Sense
mind.
was definitely first. Haley
Bruce
Joel
Willis
Osment
still
is
had a
an
little bit of hair.
adult
That was
now.
like 90 something. Sixth
Oh.
Sense was like 98, 7 or something like that.
Oh, but yeah, it didn't make
Long
me
before
think.
our time.
Not.
Okay, 2001. This was in 2001.
Oh, okay.
I think the husband too, or like Nicole Kidman.
Nicole
can't-
Kidman.
Thank you.
The Sixth Sense was 1999.
Yes.
Mm.
Her husband went away to the Civil
Oh
War.
yeah, to war.
That
Yeah.
was the Civil War was the time period of
Yeah.
that time. So, but they kept waiting on him to come back, but they
Mhm.
couldn't leave the house too because there was like some mist
Yeah.
or something around the house. She tried to leave, but then she like got lost or something, and then had to come back.
Yeah.
It was really crazy. So like that's why you kind of start thinking like, oh, something's amiss here.
That like
My
that whole
God.
like living in a situation where you're not like aware that you're crossing over into another person's situation, you're in the same house. Like there was a show, and I just had to look it up. There was a TV series in the 1990s called like Friday the 13th, right? And I was like, I've always been into the spooky shit. And I'm 90% certain this is where the story comes from. Don't quote me on the episode or anything, but I'm fairly certain it's it. The whole plot was basically like one person worked day shift, one person worked night shift. They
Yeah,
had
I
the
heard about that,
exact
yeah.
same like tastes and everything and all this other stuff. And through just a series of events, they had no clue that they were both living in the same house. And so like it would just be like the smallest little things where it'd just be like, where did my sandwich go? Like out of the fridge and like shit like that for like a long ass period of like, it was like years. And like, I don't know, there's something that's always fucked with me about that thought where I'm just like, what if somebody's upstairs right now? You know?
Oh my gosh.
And that's why I work from home, because I ain't letting that shit happen. You ain't gonna catch me fucking slipping over here, okay?
Someone eating your sandwich.
Exactly. Ain't nobody eating my sandwich. Not even me.
Yeah, I don't like that idea. Like, it's like, it makes me feel weird.
It's like, what if your shadow's moving separately from how you're moving, but only when you're not looking?
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like that's all this
unsettling.
creepy or thriller shows when they do it when the person looking at the camera or looking away, and you know there's a mirror beside him, and then the mirror doesn't
Oh,
move, and
I
you're just like,
hate that.
that's creepy.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but so creepy.
Very effective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this, Hell's Bells.
Mm-mm.
Yes, but I'm fuzzy on it.
It's basically this like tea that you make out of a specific flower.
Yes. Yeah.
And it makes you trip really bad, but like in a very bad way.
Like nobody's ever had a good trip. from
Nobody's
it.
ever had a good trip, and it's always some freaky shit like shadows are talking to you from the wall.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well, this kid that I was friends with, she used to sell it. And she sold it to this one kid who told us what happened. He ended up smearing lotion all over his mirror because when he looked at himself, his reflection didn't stop staring at him when he moved.
Can you not?
So he freaked out and rubbed lotion all over everything so he couldn't see himself anymore.
Forever?
No.
Oh.
Ever and ever.
It lasts a few hours.
No, I think it lasts like 10 to like 16 hours depending on the dose.
Yeah.
Like it in areas in Central and South America, there are specific tribes that as part of a rite of passage, you take that and then they're just like, have fun in the jungle. Like, we'll see you in 12 hours. And like you're supposed to, I mean, it's like a rite of passage. Like you're supposed to face really fucking horrifying, intense fears and like
Why would
come
you
out of it
drink
as an adult.
that?
I'm just
I
saying,
don't know.
like,
It was literally just like kids wanted to be
Yeah, like
high
the-
no matter what
like
at my school.
I
Like
remember
eating
those
a bunch of
kids.
nutmeg.
Yeah, I mean, there's people that are like that.
Like they
Yeah.
would take ecstasy at school. And I'm like, you're rolling at school?
anybody ever notice how fucking awesome the bell is? Like, it's fucking rave.
There was this.
It's like glow sticks in their locker while the bell's going off.
I know this because I know that those people because like I had friends that would do it like this drug called Snurf. I don't know what
Snurf.
it actually is.
It sounds awesome.
But
and
it's
horrible.
Snurf.
so basically it might be I don't know what like they
It's
called it
just Drano.
Snurf, but like they would they'd eat it. I think they'd eat it or take it or whatever, and then they would puke and then they would
Ew.
get really high,
Ew.
and it was super high. So a person that I know from high school, he actually did the drug, and we were sitting in history class, and he had two plates full of just 2 plates. I forgot what we were doing, some project. And he literally just paint. I don't know where he got paint from in history class, but he
Just
dumped the
manifested
paint.
it.
He dumped the paint on the plate, and like literally the teacher and me and my friend were staring at him like, what is he gonna do? And he just put his hand in the paint and he just like looks at it,
Oh my
and he's just doing this with the paint. As you can't, you don't see what I'm doing, but I'm holding my hand up to my face as I'm looking to my hand, and he just like smears it all over his face in the middle of a high school history class while project is going on. The teacher's just
That's
staring at him like,
awesome.
I don't know what to do. Like,
Technically,
I
he didn't
can't
break
do
any
anything.
rules.
And so like, all of us are just like, this dude is really high.
Oh my
And so
God.
he's just like smearing this blue and red paint, almost looking like William Wallace.
Highlander.
Yeah, or Highlander. Just kind of smearing it all over his face for like a good 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe. And we're just staring at him like, what's he going to do next? I hope he's okay. I mean, I don't remember what he did next. That was just the most memorable thing he did.
He doesn't either.
So I think he went up and got to the... I think our teacher was like, hey, you need to go wash off your face. And I think he went and washed off his face. And then didn't come back for like
an adventure.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was just like, whatever. I think the teacher was like, I'd rather have him in the bathroom doing something crazy than here. Because I can't technically do anything. So it's just really crazy.
Apparently it's not against the rules to just smear paint on your face in class.
Yeah,
Everything
technically
else
no.
is, but like they never thought of that one.
That is so funny just to witness that. Like,
wish-
what?
The first time I did acid was on accident.
How?
So I had bought a strip of acid from somebody in the morning at school, right? And this is like I think senior year of high school. I'd bought a strip of acid. And me always being paranoid with drugs, which if you're paranoid when you're possessing drugs, you're being safe with drugs. Because the biggest side effect is the law. So always know your rights. Anyways, so I had it in a small Ziploc bag, and I put it in my sock in my shoe, right? Because like I was also like a little bit sketched out about the person that sold it to me. And I was like, well, I gotta have it on me. If it's in my locker, then like I'm not gonna be able to keep my eyes on it. And if they search it, they might find it. Da 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 da. I'd feel safer if I at least saw, police come up to the classroom and like point over at me, and I could be like, oh, hide it. You know what I'm saying? Like, have a moment. Again, be safe with possession of drugs. Nobody talks about this, but so it was in my sock, and around that would have been 7:30 in the morning when I put it in my sock. Well, around 12:30, 1 o'clock, I don't remember what the fuck presentation I was doing. It was a book report or something like that. But I just started to feel like, oh, yes, I do remember. Okay, I was in health class, and this was so bad. I was in health class, and we had to do our family tree. Well, my family tree consists of like 3.5 people, basically. Like seriously, it's like, my parents are like older. My mom like moved here from Germany when she was a kid, and we're like really separated from that side of the family. And so it's just like I got my mom and my dad and my sister, and never met my grandparents. I did meet one grandma, and that's my family tree. So anyways, we all had these giant assigned or given out like poster boards, and we're supposed to draw them out. And yeah, I'm an excellent artist, and by that I'm a terrible artist. And I've done this the night before, and it's literally like 6 little nodes or 4 or 5 little nodes on this giant ass poster board that you're supposed to present to the class. Well, the acid was kicking in then. I wasn't aware that the acid was kicking in until about 5 minutes before I was supposed to present my poster board. And and I remember I was just like, I felt something weird in my sock, and I like felt down and stuck my finger in my in my sock and my shoe, and I felt, and then I realized like I don't know, I remember I pulled it up or something, but I realized that the bag had like broken, and so the strip was just sitting up against the bottom of my foot while I was like sweating in my shoes all day. I was like absorbing the hit and wasn't aware of it.
Oh my god.
And I remember I looked at this one dude. I'm just gonna. Their name started with a D. They were notoriously the most straight lace person in our grade. Like they were so like prim proper. Like they were being super 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 casual if they only had a button up like on. Like they were like one of those folks, And I looked over at him and I'm like, D. He's like, yes. And I'm like, I need your help, man. He's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I accidentally just took acid. I need you to hold my poster board for me so I can present this. And he was like, this is the type of kid that would normally have like ratted people out, but I think because I just said it straight to him, he was just like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, you just gotta hold the poster board, dude. And he took it and walked up to the front of the class.
Aww.
And I started presenting. I'm like, yeah, so it's my mom, it's my dad, this and that and the other. And as you can see, I have more of a family bush than a family tree.
Aww.
Just crickets. And I'm like, and now I'm having a bad trip. Okay, well, thank you. And the teacher was like, what? And I'm like, huh? Nothing. I just said that was a bad joke. Thanks, guys. And I just like awkwardly walked back and sat at my desk.
Wow.
The teacher's just like, okay, thanks, Gil. And I was it. I don't remember shit about the rest of the trip, but I do remember presenting my family bush to health class.
A family
That was my first trip.
bush.
So I feel your friend
Yeah.
when he was smearing paint. I wish that it went that way.
Yeah, we just look at him. I can see that's really funny though, because I can see you just like not remembering, and then next day you're just like, dude, you got back up there, and you gave the greatest, you gave the greatest family tree explanation there ever was.
Yes.
You connected your life to Alexander the Great. You connected your life to Jesus. Jesus, literally, you connected all of that. Your family tree. We don't know how you did it, or where the poster board came from that you drew in 2 minutes. But
Our health teacher quit
quit.
and gave you his job.
Gave
Yeah,
you his
yeah,
job.
yeah.
You are now the teacher. He's paying you.
And
He's paying you.
Yes.
He's paying you.
You
Yes.
change everyone's lives.
It's my first trip. The rest of my trips were better.
Third
Yeah. All right, tell one about one my dad always tells me. And he grew up in a small town in Nuevo León, Mexico. The town's called Bustamante, which is actually also has a nickname of El Pueblo de las Brujas, which town of the witches. There's a bunch of mountains, it's surrounded by mountains, the mountains that lead into Monterrey in Mexico. Well, he says that one morning he would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He'll go down this small little road, and he'll go he was going to his job, little tortilla factory, because he was a distributor of tortillas. So he would always go walk down, and then all of a sudden, like he turns this corner and he sees this lady, and it's the you know stereotypical lady in white. And she has two big dogs that walking with her. And he said he was making noise, kicking rocks and just walking down the road. He says he just never understood why the dogs never turned around. She never turned around. She just like kept it straight, almost like uh, man, like a military just walking down. That's what he was saying. It's just like the dogs were just straight, just walking down, and turned the corner, and when he turned the corner, she's gone. So then his factory at his job, and he asked some of the workers there, like, hey, I saw this so and so this lady that was coming out of the factory, like, who is she? Does anybody know who she is? Owner or what? Like, know that the owner does black magic, and she does, I guess, whatever, and that's probably, was probably what you saw, some sort of spirit or some sort of something that was coming out of the factory. Well, he said that this scared him straight. I think he was like maybe 13 or 12, something like that. He stopped going in at 4 o'clock in the morning and just started going in at 6 like everybody else. He's like, nah, I'm not messing with that. And yeah, and that's basically one story that he always tells, and it's I believe I believe him because he's my dad, but then also the story never changes. There's I always believe in people that if you tell the truth, the story's never gonna change. If you tell a lie, you're gonna be like, oh, well, it was 3 dogs, 4 dogs, 2 dogs, 1 dog.
The lady was a dog.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
the lady was a kid, a dog face or whatever. But yeah, man, that's one story that he always tells me, and it still freaks me out. I kind of like picture it, imagine it, because I've been to the small town. We're thinking about going in spring break
Nice.
for 2023, because I want to go and for that reason, like to
Yes.
experience stuff. Because also his niece um lives in same house that my grandpa used to have, which was his dad, and so she took it over. She owns it. So right in the back, there's a canal, and I never saw him, but I wouldn't mind going over there and seeing him. They say a
Mm.
little boy appears, a little boy appears and he's like just walking around in the backyard. It's basically a black backyard, and it's like there's a small little water canal that they open up to water irrigate the backyard, the avocado trees. They have a lot of avocado trees over there. But yeah, I've never seen this little boy. My mom, I think, and a couple of my aunts have seen him on occasions. Just he just appears and then disappears. I just really don't know
Dude, I
what's
don't
behind
know.
that.
There's no way you would have been able to know this because we at the studio here said we played a recording in studio with all of us hosts here listening to it, and we kind of like did some follow up and some thoughts on it. And well, actually we played two listener stories, and read one, and
Hmm.
yeah, there's a theme already with this episode with like the ghosts of children.
Nice.
And it's so it has to be such a disarming visual experience, but so like haunting at the same, like the
Yeah,
innocence makes it more haunting to me. Like if they looked
it
like
really does.
Jason, like out here like trying to chop you up and stuff like
Right.
that, like you see fear, you understand fear, you have a kind of a normal natural reaction to it, but like a child, and it's like it triggers, I don't care how cold hearted you are, it triggers a whole bunch of things inside of you of like, is that kid okay, is that really a ghost, is that like
Yeah.
concern starts to pop up, like the strangeness of it starts to pop up.
Right.
And by the time it settles in, and I can only imagine this, but by the time it settles in, it's like what you're seeing, like you've been like fully disarmed, like emotionally. And then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't
I
see
think
its
so.
legs. Oh, that's a fucking ghost. you know, like that's so scary. I don't
Right.
know. It's so haunting, man. It's damn tricky kids.
Which that actually leads into the other
Hmm.
story, my personal story. So same town, Coahuila. We just started dating actually, me and my wife, and they invite us to a wedding down there. So her mom was already down there with her stepdad. And we're like, okay, we'll catch a bus. Man, it was the longest bus drive ever, like
Oh,
16
but I'm
hours.
sure you had so much leg
Longest
room
time.
though, and you just stretch out, and yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was really comfortable. No, you know what's better is Mexican buses are better
I
than
believe that.
American
I
buses.
100%, because America
Yeah.
refuses to invest in basic public transportation in any sense.
Yeah,
Every other country's like, this
and
solves so many problems
that's
and
where
everybody's happy. America's like, no, 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 buy our cars.
yeah, because it was
Like,
a double. Yeah,
yeah,
they got a double decker. They had a
that's
double
awesome
decker.
though.
I was like, hell yeah. But so we're going down there, man, and and I'm new
Mhm.
to the family. I'm the new guy, and but I mean I like all that stuff. I know we're gonna be rough in it because
Yeah.
there's no money down there, and I understand that, so that's pretty cool. So I go down there, and her her stepdad's like, hey, get some beer, get some meat, grill. By the time we get there, it's gonna be nighttime. I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's fine. So we stop at his family's member's house to get the key for the area because we're going deeper into like what they call the rancho. So we're going in there, and we go there and say hi to everybody, say hi to his family. And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to so and so. Oh yeah, man. Hopefully the lady in white doesn't appear.
Oh,
I was like, crap. I was like, well. I was like, fuck. I was
I
like,
already
all right,
know
we
about
started
her.
this shit
I
again.
already know about her. Like-
Yeah, I already know about her. Yeah, I already know about this. Fuck her, whatever. So then, so then I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And we get there. I was like, man, I'm gonna
Mhm,
slam me some of these beers. Just
mhm.
knock out, and go to sleep. So we're there, and it's only one
Yeah,
room, literally one room. There's two, four,
yeah.
six people in one room. So it's um, it'll be like me and my wife,
Mhm,
and I'm against the wall, next to the window, and then on the other side is her mom and her stepdad, and then her little brother and little sister on the floor. So okay, so we grill, we eat, drink a couple beers. So then we're asleep, we go to sleep, and I was like, man, I took a flashlight with me. I had a flashlight with me in my hand, and I always carry a knife,
Same.
so I had a pocket knife in my pocket. So I was like, man, I was like, whatever happens, happens. And then the outhouse is like way, maybe 30 to 40 yards away
And
from
it's
the
gonna be
house.
pitch black. It's gonna be
So
pitch black outside. No
it,
light
it was
pollution. It's just gonna be. Oof.
pitch black. So I was like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
drink these beers, knock out. So I did, knocked out. Maybe I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say it's probably like 4 to 5 in the morning. And I wake up. I was like, oh
Yeah.
crap, I gotta go pee. I was like, man, I was like, I'm about to just open the door and just go there. So then I look up and I hear, I hear heavy breathing. I hear some snoring. I was like, man, I look around and I tell you, it's a small room,
Dang.
10 by 12 maybe,
I
10 by
think
12 room.
that is literally
So
the
I was
size of
like,
the
man, I was like,
studio I'm in, and it's not big.
yeah, it's not,
Yeah.
it wasn't that big. It wasn't that big. So then I was like, man, so I look around. I just sit up a little bit. I was like, no, I was like, I don't know. I was like, man, I may. All of a sudden, I just lay back down. Everybody's asleep. All of a sudden, I just hear, but like in the Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
in the Spanish accent, I hear Victor. I'm like, the hell? I'm like, I look up. I'm like, just looking around. I was like, man, whatever. Lay it back down. Victor. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I can't be tripping. I look up. Sensation to go pee went away. I was like, it's like, nah, I ain't doing it. So I lay back down. I was like, maybe until the sun
Yeah.
started rising. I was like, I woke up. Wife. I was like, hey. I was like, no. I was like, hey, was anybody awake? I was like, are y'all bullshit with me? I was like, cause I distinctively
Yeah.
for sure heard my name being called, but everybody was dead asleep. I was like, I mean, I was already awake because I was already thinking. I was like, man, I gotta go pee. I gotta go pee. No, I'm not gonna do it. I was debating with myself, and it's like I just laid down. I just hear my name twice. I was like, and to this day, I was like, man, I swear I heard my name twice. I was like, I cannot. It couldn't be anything else because it wasn't stormy. It wasn't breezy or wind was
Yeah.
blowing. Nothing. It was calm. It was a nice
It
night. And I was like,
there's
man,
also
I don't know.
when somebody says your name. Like if there's anything on
Yeah,
the like in our lives that we are trained to do, it's to have some sort of internal or external reaction when we hear our name, you know? And like you have like
yeah,
a multi-syllable name, like I just have Gil, so like any Will
yeah,
or Bill or like anything like that, like I'm out in public, I'm constantly
yeah,
like, me? Oh, hi. And they're like, oh, I was talking to the person behind me. Oh, damn it. Like I'm constantly dealing with that, but
yeah,
like you have distinctively like Victor, like it's multiple syllables, and then
yeah.
some, I don't know, pipes in the wall don't make those sounds together. You know what I mean?
No, and the thing is that yeah, and the thing is that this house is like
Oh shit.
adobe made. It's brick made.
Yeah,
There's no pipes.
exactly.
That's why there's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
outhouse in the back.
And like
And then you know what? I literally just put this together. What ran next to the house was
it's
another
always near
canal.
water, man. It's the same as
I
missing
forgot it was right
411. Yeah.
because we were hunting or not hunting. We were that later on that night, same yeah, the next day at night
Mhm.
we were hunting frogs, getting
Nice.
frog legs
I bet you
off
they were
that canal.
delicious.
They were.
But yeah. So you were just talking about well, there's the instance at your wife's family's house in Mexico, where like you heard your name whispered a few times in the dark, and it and not to poke fun, but and I'm only saying this because this is what happened to me. It literally scared the piss into you. um
Yeah.
you know, which like I'd be too. I'd be like, I'm gonna find the strength to hold this until daylight. I would be so scared.
It was the longest piss in the morning
Oh my
that I took that day.
just the
I was
roosters
like, oh,
crowing
still
and
in
you're
here.
just like saluting the sun like yes.
Yeah,
Dude, I
that tree. Hopefully, that tree's still growing. God, I just killed it.
um yeah, so and we also, or you also put the connection together to around like it's connected to water. I think your father's story
Yeah,
was the only one that like didn't directly involve there being like canal or like water or something like that
right.
nearby. um and yeah, man, take it away.
Well, I mean, keeping with I have one more personal story, but that
Yeah.
goes back into the Americas. But keeping with the Mexico theme, I've heard, and it's actually when I was down there in Coahuila, but then also my dad has also told me the stories too of when you see the like lechuzas, which are the big, they believe they're the great horned owls that
Okay.
that people believe that are witches, bad omens and stuff like that. And my dad actually has a story on that too, and it happened to my dad and my mom. But they say in order to capture one, you see it. If you see it, you pray the rosary backwards. So it happened to these two guys. They saw it. They started praying the rosary backwards. They grab a piece of rope, tied it to his leg, and then the bird falls. Ties it to his leg, stakes it down on the ground. The two men stay there all night, and in the morning, there's this lady saying, "Untie me, untie me. You don't know what you're messing with." He's like, "I'm from lands far, far away. You know, I just come every so often to come to the meetings. In this part of town. So let me go. Or if not, you know, stuff will happen to you." And usually they cut her off, and she turns into the bird again and flies away.
Damn.
But it's funny because I've heard that from different people.
Damn. I guess
That
you told me a little bit about that maybe like a couple months ago. You had messaged me over
Mhm.
Instagram, not the full story, which was awesome, but
Yeah.
and I asked my dad. My dad uh, uh born and raised in Lubbock, Texas,
Oh, yeah.
and specifically O'Donnell. But nobody knows where O'Donnell is.
Nope.
But uh but but yeah, and I don't know if it's a Tex-Mex thing or not, but like at least in that area, like a family and stuff that I have up over there, and like in the Panhandle area, like nobody that I
Mhm.
know on that side has like heard about that specifically. So I'm like wondering like where this is like regionally known. You know what I'm saying? Like if it is a regional thing or
It's probably northern Mexico because
okay.
I heard that story from my dad, and I heard the exact similar story from crap. Where is he from? San Luis, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is from San Luis, and it's their northern states of Mexico.
Damn. That's a trip, man. I don't know. I'm always a fan of regional, and I'm trying to get out of the American habit of like, states have their own history, and then every time we get outside of the country and talk about them, it's always just like just a country, and it's like,
Yeah.
like it's just like no. There's a lot of little areas and nooks and crannies, just like everywhere. Like you got
Oh
your
yeah, just like
parts of town. They've got their parts of town, and they also have different, peninsulas and sections, and like it
oh
all
yeah.
breaks down. But
There's all boundaries. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
and
But
and
that's
actually my dad, he believes in that like
Hmm.
a lot. Where not too far from where I live now, his buddy had actually captured one, a great horned owl, and you know he calls my dad and he's like, "Hey, like I got this bird. Like, you want it?" It's like I caught it. It's in my shed. And Dad's like, "Yeah, sure, okay. Go down there and go check it out." And he put it in a cage, and it was inside the shed. So he goes, "Oh yeah, it's over here." So he goes and looks. It's gone.
Damn.
He's like, "What the hell?" He's like, "Where'd it go?" And like started describing it or whatever. My dad's like, "Oh, you dummy." He's like, "It's a uh, somebody done put something on you because that's it's a bruja." And he's like, "No, what?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, but it was right here. It disappeared." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Probably did."
Yeah, dude, I'm
But
telling you, it was a witch. Like-
yeah, because I mean, it's supposed to be like a bad omen because my mom and dad, I think my mom was pregnant with, I think my sister
Mhm.
and older sister. So this was probably back in the early 80, way early 80s, because she was in April 80. So it may have been like early 80s.
Mhm.
And they're they live in an apartment and they're gonna go into the washateria. So they're in the middle of downtown Dallas. So right before that, my dad, he actually heard the bird whistling, which is the owl.
Was it? It was. This was at
Heard it.
night. When?
No, this was during the day.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Whistling at
This
night scares
this
the
was
hell out of me. Sorry. Go-
well,
go-
I'll tell you a story about that too.
Yeah.
But but yeah, he heard it and then he saw it, and then all of a sudden it was like okay, well, kind of put it in the back of his head and was like okay. So they went out and put the clothes in the car. They took off. Well, my mom says that somebody ended up wrecking into him, basically T-boned him, left him in the middle of the street. Car took off. Um, ambulance and fire department were called or whatever. I think they took my mom to the hospital because she was pregnant, just to check her out. And then, he just swears it up by it. He's like, because I saw it, I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw the Lechuza. That's why the bad stuff happened.
Damn.
So he swears by it, and he says every now and then he'll hear it at in the morning at his house. And he don't live that far from me, maybe 4-minute drive
Mhm.
from me. But um, yeah, man, dude, all this is just bringing back stories that I know, and keeping with the lechuza. Not too long ago, 2 months ago maybe,
Mhm.
my wife's niece is calling her and saying, she's freaking out because she actually saw one like flying or flying. She's at a stop sign. It flew and then it landed right next to her car,
And this was
and it
like
was
a
just looking at her.
humanoid kind of like this was a human
No, the actual
person.
bird. The
Oh,
actual
okay. So a
bird.
great horned owl like was flying and landed next to her car.
hmm
Okay.
Landed, yeah, right next to her car. Looked at her and she just took off.
Shit.
She just took off and she called her. She was all freaking out. I was like, "Hey, man, just grab your rosary and just pray." I was like, just grab faith. Actually, I don't even think she's Catholic, but I was like, if you have faith, you believe or something, just pray about it.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, Mexicans, Hispanics are pretty. They believe in it pretty bad. That it's a bad omen.
Yeah.
um, and what was it? Also, man, and I just forgot. I should have wrote it down. But I know it's they've appeared. Little ones have appeared. They also say where there's infidelity.
Hmm.
And sure enough, we're outside at a house. Um, I think it's her stepbrother's house, my wife's stepbrother's house, and one appeared just like all of a sudden just flew and landed on a power line. And we just saw it and we're like, oh man. But it was a smaller one. It wasn't the Great Horn Owl. And we're like, oh man, like what does that mean? And this and that. So wife's Googling on our way back home. And like, oh, well, also means, infidelity, somebody's cheating, somebody's doing. Sure enough, it was her stepdad's father-in-law was having an affair. They found this out like 2 or 3 weeks later, and like he was having an affair. So I mean, I don't know if like is it true? Is it not? I think that goes a little bit more into magical, spiritual belief. There's really no big facts about it. There's no Bigfoot facts about it, at least.
Truth.
It's just stories, fables.
With respect to like the stories and the fables and stuff like that, because like I'm into skinwalkers, I'm into shapeshifters, you know what I'm saying, like that. And honestly, like all this tracks with that same line of thought, you know what I'm saying, like this happening here, and honestly, even regionally, that tracks,
Yeah.
I would just say to lighten the mood, I would hate to be a legitimate great horned owl
Yeah.
that's just trying to get
Yeah.
out here. Just like, God damn it, pick another
It's
bird.
funny because,
Like,
dude, if you go to the zoo, I think if you go to the zoo, you'll never look at it the same.
yeah.
Because I'll go to the zoo and they'll have it in display. They'll have it in the cage or whatever to show it off. And I usually just say like a small little prayer
Mm.
because just of my belief, and I'm like, no, you're not what people think you are,
Mm.
and I just leave it at that. And
Yeah, man.
just small little prayer, and keep it on my faith, my belief.
Yeah.
Just because stories I've heard. There's one story that my dad tells that there's this one guy. He sees it and he knows what it is. He sees the bird and he knows what it is. He's like, go away, shoosh, trying to shoot off. Or I'm gonna feed you all this, all this pepper, all this chile, and all these spices. Go away, go away. So later on that night, the man's at home. Knock at the door. Opens up the door and it's a lady. The lady's saying, "Where's all my spices? Where's my pepper?" And he's like all freaked out, going crazy. He's like, "What the fuck?" Da da da. Man, I don't know. That's crazy. And don't whistle back at it. If you hear a
Ever.
whistle, the thing is there should be no birds. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a biologist or whatever. There should be no birds at night.
Yeah.
Whistling, at least.
Yeah. That's
Singing or anything like that.
Yeah. Just go the other way or take your time to look around. Never. Nothing good comes from whistling at night. Let's just put it that way. Like the cost benefit analysis of whistling at night is never in your favor.
No.
Because now,
man,
even if you don't believe in supernatural stuff, you don't lean towards it. Why the hell is a creeper outside whistling at you at night? Like, still, nothing good can happen. Now you got a human standing
crazy.
in your yard whistling. Like, that's even that's scarier to me. It's just like, oh shit,
right?
Like, they're not just
That's
creeping on
crazy.
me; they're trying to attract me with whistling. But yeah, I mean, it's I feel like every culture has like made a connection at some point in the folklore and the tales and stuff like that. There's always something bad connected to like whistling, like always.
Yeah.
Like as specifically at night, but like almost always.
Yeah. I need to do a little bit more deep look into that of what's the I don't know what is the connection between whistling and either spiritual or some sort of scary stuff, I guess you could say. And what is the significance of that? Like, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Uh, if you whistle, and even then, if you whistle back, what does it mean to to that bird?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy that there's another podcast, if you've listened to it, Monsters Among Us.
Yes. With Derek Hayes. I
Yes.
love that podcast.
Oh man, I
Yes.
was so mad that he got at a paranormal. Was it paranormal? Caught on camera?
Yeah.
He's off of that now. Yeah, I think he got out like earlier this year or something like that.
Okay.
But what was tripping me out was uh, this is another witch story.
Mm-hmm.
Is early on in his podcast, he has this lady on, and she's describing. She told me, oh, or no, she told me, she said on the podcast, I'm from the Dallas area, Oak Cliff to be exact, that's where I'm from. I said, oh, so got my interest. I was like,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
So then she's like, yeah, I was, over here. She was describing like where she was at, and I'm like, holy shit. And I was like, that's literally behind the house I grew up in.
Holy shit.
The neighborhood is like right behind. I was like, what the hell? And she said this was probably like early 90s, I believe. And she's like, yeah, I was off with, there's this house or these buildings, whatever. I was like, holy crap. I was like, you're just literally describing my neighborhood. So then um, she says that she's walking home with her friend, and then her friend, I think they split,
Mm-hmm.
and because her friends like lives in one house, and then she lives probably like a block away. So then I think she's being followed by this bird.
Mm.
She's being followed by something, and then that when she gets home, she's like, she runs home because I guess she sees it. She runs home, knocks on the door, or whatever. And, I think it's her grandma is there, and she tells her what she saw. Her grandma goes out there and it's like shoos it away, but then also I don't know, she brings out the holy water or whatever, but she's basically doing that, shooing it away with like I said, I think she said she has holy water or something like that. And I was like, holy crap! I was like, you know what? That's funny because that is not the first time I heard of some sort of black magic, something going around in my neighborhood. I was like, because like right in maybe a mile radius of that, there's a creek that runs, and I had a friend that lived in that creek or by that creek,
Mm-hmm.
and she would tell me that yeah, her neighbor um, would do black magic at that creek. She would always go with her whatever book it was, and pray and do all this other weird stuff. And she was known for that in that little neighborhood. It was like I think maybe a whole everything. If you did a square around it, it was like a mile
Mm.
on each side of the square.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I was like, 'cause from my house to that creek, it's probably less than a mile. I'm gonna say a mile, probably a little less than that. And then to where that lady called in, there's probably a mile and all that right there. I was like, man, that was pretty crazy.
Damn, man. That's nuts. I've only it's a weird feeling when you're listening to a podcast and then like somebody starts telling a story and then it just slowly like it clicks. You're like, wait a second, that's where I used to live, or that's where I grew up. And then they start to and like it goes on and like I don't care. Like if you're driving, you pull over. You're just like, oh my god, like
Yeah,
there's a Bigfoot episode on a show. I'm not gonna be able to remember off the top of my head which one it was. It was like a call in, you listener submitted kind of stories, um,
yeah,
and they started explaining like the tiniest little like sub sections, sub neighborhoods of like
mhm,
my hometown, where like
yeah,
literally I lived, and
Mhm.
it was about Bigfoot, and I was just like, what the you
Yeah,
holy shit. And they were like, yeah. So then I went over to this gas station. I'm like, I used to go there every day. I'm just like, holy crap,
yeah,
man. But like, yeah,
yeah.
dude,
That's crazy.
that shit's a trip, man. And that had to be
Well,
like, weird, like, I don't know, finding out that like something's going on for so long in an area while you were growing up there and like while you were living there, where it's
mhm,
just like, oh, this is going
not
on
knowing.
literally down the street from me. Like all sorts of crazy shit
Yeah,
was going on all around me.
that was crazy, and like it kind of almost to me like it validated the story that she said,
Yeah.
that the lady said, because of what my friend had said, and this is like years apart. We were in elementary school, and I just heard this story maybe about a year to 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
So I mean, we got 30-year difference probably somewhere around there. It's like there's got to be some sort of truth into that.
That's a trip, man.
Yeah. So, but there was also another story that I heard
Mm-hmm.
that was not too far from where I live, but it was about the rake.
Mm.
I believe I think it was about the rake, and I actually turned I don't even know his name. Tony Merkel
Mm-hmm.
had came down here um to Houston, I believe. I think so. They did an event, and this one guy stands up and talks about that story. It's in Hutchins, I believe, which is maybe 45-minute drive from my neighborhood. And he talks about the rake, how he saw this, whatever the rake is. I don't know, some sort of alien type of um, beast. I don't know what it is really.
it like, yeah, not
Skinny, long.
yeah, it's mm, picture uh, picture if humans had evolved in caves for 20,000 years. And then like
Yeah,
one of them found a crack in the ground and came up and was like, like, what's this? And is just walking around like, just like
yeah,
really like pasty white to the point of like their skin's translucent, and you can like see their
yeah,
veins and stuff through it, and like their eyes are huge, if not just like black sockets. And yeah, they are nightmare juice. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I don't know. I find it crazy stories around my neighborhood
Hmm.
or my area actually, and I like it because it's like, man, now I've got something to look for.
Yeah.
But like I said, never find it. I guess if you're out looking for it, it's just never gonna appear
Yeah.
for you. But man, there's this one story. No, it's not even a story because it happened to me at the old house that we used to live at. We recently moved and been living at this house for since what, February, since March, I believe. We moved into this new house. But that old house that I lived in, I think this happened about a year ago. I'm gonna go with a year and a half just for time, or just for a good gauge. And I always wake up at 5 in the morning, to go to work, get ready to go to work. So wake up at 5. I really don't get out of bed until about like 5:15. So I'm like, turn on TV, start watching the news, just trying to wake up. Okay, awake, get dressed, and I walk myself to the kitchen.
Hmm.
So I'm in the kitchen, and I have my contacts on. So I'm, who's all living there? My two sons, my two younger sons, um, my wife, and then her brother were living there. So I'll get in the kitchen. I'm facing away from the doorway, but then I kind of turn like a little halfway where I'm still like, now I have the doorway in my peripheral,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden I just see literally just like this,
Yup.
somebody pass.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I'm talking about, I got goose pimples.
So so it
I
just
turn
was like
around.
peripheral. Just for the audio, it was like a base picture doorway, and then just like the side profile of somebody just moving, like past, but like
Correct.
just in the corner of your eye, like past the doorway. So,
Right.
gotcha.
So I mean, it was like it wasn't even like I just poo-pooed it because
Yeah.
I saw it. And I'm like, what the hell? I saw shoulders, the head,
Holy
and the legs. I was like, what the hell? I go over there because I'm thinking it's him or it's her brother. I'll go over there and I turn to my left where it went to.
Mhm.
I turn to my left and it's the door to go outside. And then there's a small little living room, couch and everything. I turn, nothing's there.
Damn.
Dude, I'm freaking my skin just man, I just got the chicken skin. And I was like, holy crap. I go to my wife, I was like, I just saw this. I just saw this. I was like, man, I can't believe I just saw this. I was like, where's your brother? Where's he at? I go to his room. He's not even there. I was like, what the
Jesus.
hell? So, he would go out a lot or whatever. And I was like, he just didn't make it home. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And this, I mean, this was obviously during the work week because I was going up to go to work.
Yeah.
Dude, I couldn't shake it. I was like, what the hell? And so then I just left it alone. So what's funny is that again, this house was weird. So me and my wife were dating, and the room that we took when we were there a year ago, 2 years ago, we were in there because that was her room. So we're just watching a movie. She had a small little TV, popping a this is a video cassette player, VHS, and we're just watching TV. So it was like a Saturday night. Yeah, it had been Saturday night. And at that time, this was 14, maybe 10 to 12 years ago. Not even that, shit. Probably 13 years ago. So we're in the room, chilling, watching a movie. And then there's a gap, a pretty good sized gap from the door to the floor.
Mhm.
And then there's a hallway light. All of a sudden, we just see hallway light literally turn on, turn off, turn on, turn
No.
off. I was like, what the hell? Man, I was like, who's playing with the light? Because it was her aunt. A lot of people used to stay there. It was just like the house that, start off home and then everybody just takes off, whatever. Save up the money to buy you a new house so you could stay here. So her aunt, her uncle, and their three kids stay there. So they're like, oh, it's probably one of the kids or whatever. Probably your aunt, it's getting up somebody. So then, it turned off, turned on maybe about a good 5 times.
Shit.
Well, we never thought, oh, what the hell? Only weird thing about it is that part of the hallway has wood floors. Yeah, we didn't hear anything
Yep.
or see anything, any shadows. So we're like, what the hell? I'm like, okay. So we, left it like that. I said, okay, good night. I'm leaving. Left. And next morning, I'll go back to her house and it's a Sunday. We're out chilling. She's like, hey, who was playing with the lights last night? She's like, was it my uncle? Somebody going to the restroom or something? She's like, no, kids were asleep. She's like, I was watching TV all night, and your uncle was passed out drunk. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
She's like, no. She's like, no, no. She's like, I even fell asleep, and she told us the show. I can't remember the name of the show, and it was like an hour-long show. I think it finished like around 10 at night. And she's like, yeah, I was watching the show. Like as soon as it finished, I just turned it off. And that's about, man, it was about the time we saw the lights flicker off and on. And she's like, you know what? To even tell you, the light don't even work. I was like, what? Like, man, we both got up like that. Dude, we both got up
No.
like that. We walked over, flipped that switch, fucking light didn't even turn on.
What the
I was
fuck,
like,
man?
I was like, fuck this. I was like, nah. So, same house, same aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
Um, we were, me and my wife were at Bass Pro Shops,
Mhm.
and just shopping, whatever, hanging out. And I tell her, oh man, let's call your uncle up, see what he's doing. Go have a cookout over. And I'm like, I call him up. I was like, hey man, what's going on? Nothing, man. Taking a drive, drinking drinking a 12 pack and taking a drive. Like, I don't think you should be doing that. But I was like, he's like, why? What's up? He's like, nah, man. He's like, some scary ass shit was just happening at the house. I had to leave. Like, we're on our way. We
Yeah.
get there.
You're just like throwing the basket down like this.
Yeah,
I'm out. Like,
yeah. So no, so we get there and he's outside. He finally got outside and he's in the parking lot or the driveway and he's drinking his beer. He hands me one. I start drinking one. And I was like, dude, I was like, what happened? And he's like, man, you gotta come. You gotta come with me. I was like, well, I'm like, fuck no. If you're talking about some shit happened in the house. He said, no, no, no. He's like, that way I can explain it to you. So in the room he was in, he was in the room watching TV, and all of a sudden he just hears like a whole bunch of rustling in his closet, and he's like, what the fuck? He's like, it's probably the dog because they had a small puppy.
mhm.
It's probably the damn dog, whatever. And then all of a sudden, the dog's coming out of the bed from underneath the bed,
No.
and then she's just like, just looking at the closet, and he hears more rustling. He's like, man, hopefully it's not a rat or whatever. But then he's like, well, the thing what I couldn't understand was there was only shoes on the floor. He's like, and what I was hearing was like paper and like shoe boxes or something like that. He opens up the closet and that's what he sees is just these shoes. So he's like, nah, fuck that. I just closed the door, laid back down watching TV.
Mhm.
He's like, I picked up the dog and I put it in the bed with me. All of a sudden, he's like, I'm hearing more noise. So he hears it from another room. So he goes and investigates that. All of a sudden, it's just like something just falls. He just hears a bang. He's like, nope, fuck this. Grabs his keys, took off. That's where he took off driving. He's like, nah, man. So I was like, man, I was like, that sucks. I was like, wait, well, what was calling you to see if you want to grill out or whatever? He's like, yeah, yeah, that's fine. He's like, let's just go to the store, let's go buy some meat. I was like, yeah, that's fine. So me and my wife and him, we were going to the store. At that moment, his wife and his 3 kids were getting there. They're like, hey, we're gonna go do this and cook our. She's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna clean up then. She said, okay. So the kids stayed outside. She went inside. We went to the store. Went to the store, whatever. Came back, and then she's freaked out. She's outside, and she's like, yeah, there's something like I don't know what. She's like, why? Well, she's like, I was mopping the kitchen, and then all of a sudden I hear in Spanish, like amor,
Mhm.
and then she heard it again, like amor, to where like she's like she responded, like she's like, yeah, what do you want? And then her oldest son comes in. She's like, hey, what does your dad want? Where is he at? No, he left with Victor and Dalia to the store. He hasn't come back yet. That's where she got freaked out. She's like, no, fuck this. She's like, when we came back, I was like, y'all need to bless this fucking house. I was like, I ain't coming back in this damn
Cookouts
house.
at my house.
Yeah, cookouts at my
I'm
house.
assuming none of y'all want to be here this evening, so we're all going to our
I was,
place.
I was
Damn,
like,
man.
dude, I was like, and I mean, it stuck like that for a little while, and then all of a sudden, just nothing would happen. But what was weird is like when those stuff would happen, but I just never felt anything. I never felt like presence or anything bad. Uh, you know, how some spirits I guess could be bad or mean or whatever, but I
Yeah.
just never felt that. I never felt bad or good.
Yeah, just another place, another day, kind of just you just existing around it, but like
Yeah, basically. I was like, I guess it is my world, and they're just living around there.
Thank you so much for listening to the Black Cat Report and our episode with listener call-in stories. We're so excited to talk to people who listen to us and actually have paranormal stories of their own. Let us know what kind of merch you would like to put into our store by contacting us via email contact@blackcat.report or on our Insta. And always remember to like, review, and subscribe. We'll see you on the other side.